Right, well, welcome back. New wing software. So let me tell you the story. If you're new to this channel, and the previous video was me test flying this, and the idea was this was a simple climb Fogelman, and then I wanted to muck around with some, actually two bits of wing software. One I'm going to show you this week because I really have cracked on. I mean, you know, I joke on the Angel Wing Designs website that I basically use a crayon, and when I send my designs, if they're any good, to Andy. But I've got this thing called Wing Helper, which I have really enjoyed and got a little bit addictive. So what I'd like to do is, this was always the plan, that we were going to make up a built-up version for this plane. Now, as it happens, because it was so successful, and very kindly Andy from Angel Wing Designs has made me and cut me a whole new fuselage. When we get to the build of that, we'll talk around the reasons for that. But the reason for this video is that I'm going to talk you through, I'm no teacher. If you want to learn about ears, I might be quite good at teaching you something about that. When it comes to doing CAD design, it's not me, but I just thought, I'm a complete newbie. I'll show you what I've done, and then when I've got it finished, I'm going to send the DX file. Check me out. I mean, even getting the lingo already. I'm going to send that to Andy. Andy's going to peruse it and come back with any possible suggestions that it's not quite right. He's going to cut me that wing kit and then send it back to me, and then hopefully we're either going to do one full build of the whole thing, and then we can show you with my new built-up wing. Now, for those panicking about this is not getting scrapped. The fan's going to get taken out of this and put in the new one. This is going to get converted for the slope. So what I am hoping is at some stage in the future, we'll have them both on the slope, and one's just going to be a sloper, one's just going to be a jet. But anyway, let me talk you through this software. It's called Wing Helper. I believe it's from Germany. I've got to be honest, if you go on the website, which I'll put the link down to, and I will put some little, when the bloke's doing the chat on his YouTube channel, which I've got to say is absolutely superb. Don't listen to me waffling, but whenever I hear him talking about, you know, talks you through the Wing Helper, I just want him to say, "Get to the chopper." If you go on his website, I'll put the link. You'll know what I mean. Anyway, let's talk through Wing Helper, and let's talk you through my first ever wing design. Once upon a time in a land far, far away. Let's look at this software. This is the latest version of Wing Helper, and it is 1.71. Now, this is the first page you'll get. It all looks a little bit scary, and I'm using a mouse that's got a wheel. So I'm just going to go to here, which is add, and I'm going to click on there, and then this opens a new page. So what we're going to do to start off with is I am just going to make this full size, and the first thing that Andy taught me is make sure that you write in something here. So where this where it says name here, I've written Panther, so I won't forget it. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to just copy the dimensions of the Panther Decline Fogelman wing. So we're going to scroll down to the first thing here, and that's the length, and the Panther wing is 400. You can either write these in or scroll through as you like. As you say, this is only, I've only had this software for about a week. Worth remembering that you can have it for 7 days as a sample or as a test. The root cord, now you'll notice that actually if you look on the screen here,
Nothing's actually happening at the moment, although I've changed the chord. I'm going to show you what's going to happen in a moment. So we want the root chord is 250, so I've put the span in. So we're just going to change the root chord as well. So remember, I'm just copying these all from my Panther. The tip chord is 160, and we're just going to come down there like so. And then what's going to happen is, at the moment I just want to show you that bit first. Now I'm going to go up here to ribs, click on the ribs, and you see where it says generate ribs. Watch what happens to the wing. The wing has now moved. And that's an important thing to remember whenever you're mucking around with the ribs or with the span. You'll have to go back and just click generate. So we're going back to base data, and the other thing I need to do is I'm just going to change the sweep. Now you will see the sweep. Can you see here on this line? You'll see the sweep is actually changing, and we're going to go to 30 because that's what I've got. I'm not bothering with any root twist or any tip twist, and I've got to be honest with you, what you want to do is just have a play with these and just, you know, muck about with them and see what happens. Now if I just show you what we've done already, so I'm now holding the left button down and I can now move this around like so. Now a little top tip here which I discovered, it might not be everybody's mouse settings, but if I hold both of the buttons down on my mouse, I can actually move the whole thing about, and that might be important a little bit later as we go along. Now I'm also decided just at the bottom here, I'm just putting 2 degrees of tip dihedral, but if you just watch this wing and if I just add the dihedral and then go to the ribs, I go back to base data, and if I go down the bottom, this bottom tab here, and then click dihedral, it's actually showing the dihedral. So all of these arrows here, if you unclick them, that certain object will disappear. Obviously we've got no trailing edge at the moment, so I'm just going to go back to my original dihedral, which was, you can see it's moving at the moment. I'm going to go back to the 2 degrees, and at the moment I'm taking that off. It's there, but it's just not visible. So I'm quite happy with that. And the only other thing that we need to do now is this bit that says aerofoil. And at the moment, to keep life simple, I'm using the root rib, and the tip rib is going to be the same. When we get a little bit more expert with it, possibly we could actually change those parameters, but at the moment I'd like to leave those parameters as is. Now this here, the aerofoils, there's about 1,000 aerofoils, and what I have noticed is that actually you can just type them in small groups. So if I type in RG, all the RG airfoils, the groups of them will come. Now I'm actually using this one here, RG 15.8.9%. I'm using that one, and did you see how the rib changed? So if I go to a different one, that's changed, but I'm going back to that one there. So that basically is, we've got ourselves a wing. And the other interesting thing is, let me just show you something. If I go down to OK in the bottom right hand corner and click there, that's going back to the first page, and you'll notice now we've got a whole wing set up. Looks very much like a panther to me. Also in the name it has, obviously we've got panther, and it's an RG 15 8.9%. so I am going to go click on here and then go to edit. We're back on that page. Now the next thing that we need to look at is going to be the ribs. So I'm now going to click on the ribs here. Now so this is all to do with altering the ribs. So the first thing I need to do is I want to change my ribs to 2.5 millimeters. So this here is the thickness of the rib, and you can change how many ribs you want. So you can either do this manually, but look, if I type in 20 here, which is double, if I click generate the ribs, it's going to ask me, do I want to proceed? And there you go, we've whacked in a load of extra ribs. So what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to go back to the 10. I'm not going to make this over difficult, but let me just click on there. There we go, back to my 10 ribs. Now the other interesting thing is that if I clip on rib number 1, I am going to keep this dead simple. But what I want to just show you a couple of things here, that in this little bit here that says building tabs, what will happen is if I just click here, oh look, so we've now got these building tabs here, so that if we want to jig our wing in any specific way, or if we had washout, all these tabs would be cut to suit. Now I'm just going to check this here, and you can actually alter these if you want to. So if your leading edge here, if it's too close to the leading edge, you could just change it here. You can change the area of the trailing edge one. So let me just show you. If I just look, if I'm just moving this one, you'll notice that that's moving down the rib like so. And all I'm going to do is I'm going back to here, because I'm quite happy with this one. Oh, what have I done there? I'm going to go back to 10 like so, and that basically is my ribs sorted. You can highlight individual ribs. Say if you want to, you can make the ribs disappear, but we're just going to, for ease of this wing, and I'm making it as simple as possible because as I've always said, I am a simple man. That is our rib for the time being. That's our ribs done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to spars, because what we want to do is we want to put some spars in. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight that there. Right, I've just clicked underneath, and it says spar in front or spar behind, but this one is going to be our I'm going to do this one as a leading edge. So let me just show you that there. So if I put that in front, now obviously that's massive, but let me just show you, if you just look at the dimensions here, if I just move, I can actually move that backwards and forwards, and it will just follow the path of the rib. Now this particular one that we want to do is going to be, so I'm going to change the radius to 3. And what I want to do is I am just going to bring this right to the front. So this is my, I've got that at, it's 2.5 away. I've got this as percentage, but it's also 2.5 millimeters. Now if I just quickly scroll in here, hold both of these. Look, if we scroll in now, wee Nick, hang on. There you go, look at that. Sweet! It's almost, I'll tell you what. Now, what we need to do here is I just need to write in here leading edge, because Andy will never forgive me if I, so I'm just going to type enter. So that one is round, so let's just come back out of here at the moment. That's superb. Now the next one that we're going to do is, let me just have a little look at this here. That's the leading edge. Actually, if you look, if I click on here and show you, you can actually change the shape of that rib. So I've actually clicked on where it said round, got wing joiners, webbing, rectangle. So if I click there, it will change to a rectangle if I alter it. But let's just go back there. I don't want to get too clever. And then what we want, you can actually have a balsa leading edge if you wanted to. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm now going to add another one. And this is going to be our main spar. So I'm just going to click add in front, and then what we're going to do is I am just going to look at that one. And then what we'll do is I'm just going to change this one to, again, to 3mm. That's the radius. I'm changing the radius to 3mm. And then what we want to do is just change that. Let's go back and go right, new spar. So I'm going to click on this spar, and then what we'll do is I'm just going to write in here main spar like so. Now the other interesting thing is, if you want to, you can actually change the height of this. So what you can actually, if you just pull in here, you can actually change the height and position of these if you want to. So if you've got this Y axis here, I'm clicking on the Y axis. Can you see it's going down? So if you wanted to increase some angles, then you can do. So I'm just going to put mine. I'm just going to keep it dead simple and keep it bog standard right in the center. And I've got it at 25 millimeters. There we go. So that's basically a leading edge. Now, one last thing I am going to show you is let me just show you something that's quite interesting here. So if we click on there, we can get rid of the spars, but look, here's your hole, so it gives you a good look round to see how you think things are going. I click back down on the spars, and the spars are there. So the next thing that we've got to look at is just going to go to trailing edge. So this leading edge here, I'll be honest with you, what I've done is I've just ended up using the spars, ailerons and cutters, and that's worked for me. So trailing edge, so I'm just going to click on here for a trailing, so standard sort of depth. There we go. And what we're going to do for our trailing edge, we're going to make this one. So what's going to actually happen with this design is I'm going to make this 40. That's our trailing edge. Now what's going to happen is when this actually cuts this file, it means it's going to finish this edge here at 40 millimeters depth, which means I can then put a false trailing edge along here. You can, if you want to, you can actually do your own false trailing edges, and if you watch some of his videos, he'll even do hinged ailerons as well. But I am just keeping this simple. One last thing I want to show, so that's the trailing edge done. One last thing I want to show you with these spars. If I click spar behind, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on here, and I'm going to change it to a round joiner. Okay, that's the round joiner, that bit there. Now at the moment that's 1 of 10. If I click on this 10 here, and then what we'll do is if I just change that from 10 to 3 like so, click enter, boom, there we go. Now what I can do is, if I'm going to change this one, another one is going down to, oh hang on, sorry, wrong way. I'm going to go down to 3 millimeters there. Now watch what happens, and I'm going to give you a little tip here. So this has become a wing joiner. Now at the moment, so I can do one wing joiner there, and then I can do another wing joiner here. So if we wanted to, we can just click another one, add spar behind, and then I'm going to change that to like so. I'm going to change that to 3. Again, I'm going to change it back down to the radius is 3, and then all we're going to do, if I increase this is now going where I want to. And also if we want to, we can actually change the radius. Now we've done some fantastic work already, and we want to check what we've done to see what it actually looks like as a wing. If we go down to OK, there we go, that near or damn it looks like a panther wing. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to click on edit, and we're back where we are. Now the only other thing we need to do, which is very clever, is going to be some sheeting. So what we'll do is I'm just going to click on here. I'm going to do standard sheeting from the leading edge, and this is a preset setting on here which has automatically done it. So if you wanted to change, so like if you had a webbed spar, then we could actually change this. Now I'll be honest with you, I've kept this simple. In the actual design, I'm actually going to change mine, which I will talk about in the construction. But that now is standard, so the thickness is 1mm. So let's just change that to 1.5mm. You can change where it extends to. It says, look, extends the trailing edge up to rib 2. Well, if we wanted to, because we've got the spar, so we've now covered the wing joiners, because I've gone from extending the rib from 3, and if I go back down, we could go to 4. I mean, you could sheet the whole wing, but if I go down to 2, there we go. So I'm actually going to go up to 3, and very cleverly, let me show you. If I just rotate this, it's done top and bottom. Absolutely superb. If you want to, you can adjust, though. If you go to the advanced settings, you can adjust those, but just to keep life simple, because I am a very simple person. Look at that. So we're happy with this. What we can do is, if we unclick the sheeting here, just having a little look at that, we can put the sheeting back on. And there are other things that we can add to this, but I wanted to keep this dead simple, because my advice is I would get this software. I think it's €70. You get 7 days free, and also you get to say things like "get to the chopper." So let me just click on here. Okay, now look at that. Come on, that looks like a panther wing to me. Now let me just show you something here. If you want to, if you just click on here, you can actually just split the wings. Also on this page, if I go to plan form, it will actually, let me just scroll out, it will actually show you a plan form. In a more advanced thing, we can start moving these ribs about, but let's just keep it simple. There you go. That's our wing. Now all I'm going to do now, I am going to show you the slightly more advanced version that I did, where instead of using a carbon fibre tube, I've used a notched leading edge with these building tabs on the ribs. So let me just show you what we were talking about. It doesn't show them, but the building tabs are there. So if you click on a rib, these building tabs are here. So I'm really happy with that. I hope that hasn't been too long or too boring for you. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to say OK on here. Really pleased with that. You don't have to split this wing, by the way, but it's just something if you want to. Good tip here is, if you take away the sheeting, you can just check to see how everything lines up. So just worth remembering that. I mean, if you want to, you can just take your spars out, and that's what you've got. So all I'm going to do now is I am just going to click on this here. It says TXF. I'm going to export this TXF file, and I'm going to send that to Andy, and let's see what happens.
Right guys, I've done it. That's my first wing. Now I hope it wasn't too boring, I hope I wasn't too quick, but that literally is the third wing that I've worked on. I worked on one with just talked through it with Andy. I've got to be honest with you, the guy, I think it's a German guy that's got the Wing Helper website, his YouTube channels are brilliant, and I'll tell you what I did. Got it in front of me, flat screen TV when the wife was having a bath, got the laptop, looked at the software and just followed along. I'd like to thank Andy Whitehead for all his help with that. I do believe that if you've got some sort of if you're reasonably good at Fusion and Fusion 360 and stuff like that, Andy will look at stuff to cut. So very exciting. We've got this project coming on, so I've got this to do. We've got the new fuselage, and the other interesting thing is on my third design, brace yourselves, but I did my third design, which I'm not even going to show you. Andy said if that was a kit, he'd buy it himself. I'm not going to be a kit manufacturer, by the way. Calm down, calm down. I want to enjoy my retirement. You might notice I've had a little bit of a tidy up one side. I've got another tidy up this side to go because there's some exciting things coming for Nick Chitty flying. Thanks guys.